Hey YNR fans! Welcome to YNR Trends, your young and the restless updates, shocking spoilers, and all the drama. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right into Genoa City's hottest gossip. The next 2 weeks of The Young and the Restless from September 22nd to October 3rd, 2025, promise to be filled with layers of tension, long-awaited confrontations, and shocking twists that will leave fans glued to the screen. At this stage in the soap's trajectory, the pace has shifted into high gear, with storylines colliding and characters being forced to reckon with the choices they've made and the secrets they've been keeping. This period is not just about surface drama, it's about the deeper consequences that have been building for months, the emotional fallout of betrayals, and the desperate attempts at redemption. The spoilers ahead are heavy with implications for Genoa City's biggest families, and as the episodes unfold, it's clear that loyalties will be tested, alliances may crumble, and new rivalries are set to ignite. The Newman family, as always, sits at the epicenter of chaos. Victor, the patriarch who never truly releases his grip on the family's destiny, has been carefully watching the cracks forming between his children. His protective instincts toward his empire and legacy are stronger than ever, especially as whispers about boardroom betrayals grow louder. Spoilers suggest that Victor will take drastic steps during this window, not only to safeguard Newman Enterprises but also to draw clear lines about who he can trust. This doesn't come without a cost. Nikki grows increasingly concerned about the toll this relentless cycle of scheming and power struggles is taking on him. While she has always stood by his side, even in his darkest moments, Nikki begins to wonder if the price of loyalty has become too high. At the same time, Victor's relationship with Adam continues to be strained, with old resentments resurfacing. Adam is desperate for validation but torn between proving himself and walking away from the family business altogether. His decisions during these weeks could redefine not only his future but also his standing in the Newman hierarchy. Nick, meanwhile, is struggling in both his personal and professional life. His attempts to strike balance often leave him frustrated, especially as the drama surrounding his relationships refuses to die down. Spoilers indicate that Nick will clash with both Sharon and Phyllis in unexpected ways. Sharon, who has been focusing on rebuilding her life and maintaining stability for her family, finds herself pulled back into Nick's orbit when circumstances involving faith resurface. This isn't about rekindling old romance so much as it is about a reminder of the bond they share as co-parents, but there are hints that unresolved emotions might bubble up once again. Phyllis, on the other hand, is pushing Nick's buttons in an entirely different way. Her restless energy, her drive to manipulate situations to her advantage, and her refusal to play by anyone's rules but her own put her at odds with him at precisely the moment when he is desperate for peace. Their interactions over the coming episodes highlight just how combustible their connection can be. There's passion, yes, but also the potential for destruction. Victoria's storyline intensifies as well, particularly in the corporate realm. Spoilers suggest that she will be forced into making decisions that blur the line between business and personal life. While she is determined to assert her authority and prove she's capable of steering Newman Enterprises without interference, the pushback she receives may come from unexpected sources. Her clashes with Victor are nothing new, but the possibility of betrayal from someone closer, whether a sibling, a confidant, or even an ally she thought she could count on, complicates her path. Victoria's resilience is undeniable, but the weeks ahead place her in situations where her instincts and her loyalty are in direct conflict, and every choice she makes has ripple effects that could change the Newman legacy. Turning to the Abbotts, the tension within this family is just as combustible. Jack, always the stabilizer yet often the one caught in the crossfire, finds himself worrying about the legacy of Jabot and the constant turmoil threatening to tear his family apart. His bond with Diane remains strong, but they are not immune to the pressures around them. Kyle's decisions, in particular, cause significant friction. Spoilers point to Kyle being pulled into a complicated situation with Audra, one that tests his judgment and loyalty to his family. While Audra is always playing her own game, her growing closeness to Kyle raises red flags for many, particularly for Summer, who is caught between her feelings for Kyle and her instinct to protect herself from being burned yet again. Summer's journey during this time is about reclaiming her sense of power and direction, refusing to be sidelined by drama, even if her emotions betray her resolve. Ashley Abbott is another wild card during this period. Her recent struggles have left scars, and her loved ones remain on edge about her well-being. But spoilers suggest that Ashley may surprise everyone by showing resilience in unexpected ways. Whether it's in her business dealings or her family interactions, Ashley's story over these 2 weeks is about regaining control, sometimes through unconventional methods. Tucker, never far from chaos, continues to play a significant role in Ashley's arc. His presence in Genoa City is always disruptive, and these episodes are no exception. Whether he is pulling strings behind the scenes or directly confronting those who oppose him, Tucker thrives in conflict. His dynamic with Ashley oscillates between care and manipulation, leaving fans wondering if he can truly be trusted or if he is simply setting the stage for yet another betrayal. Devon and Abby also find themselves caught in the crosscurrents of family drama. Devon's protective instincts toward Chancellor Winters clash with his desire to maintain peace with his family, while Abby remains a steadying force, though not immune to her own doubts. With Nate still very much in the orbit of Newman and Chancellor Winters, these episodes highlight how intertwined business and personal lives have become in Genoa City. Trust is a fragile commodity, and one wrong move could spark new feuds. On the romantic front, several couples face crossroads. Mariah and Tessa continue navigating the ups and downs of parenthood, but the weight of outside pressures begins to creep into their relationship. Their storyline during these weeks offers a glimpse into the challenges of balancing love and responsibility, while also raising questions about how far they're willing to go to protect what they've built together. Chelsea and Billy also face turbulence, with Chelsea wrestling with doubts about where she stands in Billy's life and whether his lingering feelings for Victoria or his unresolved issues will ultimately sabotage their relationship. Billy, ever restless, finds himself questioning his own choices, torn between the life he's built and the life he still imagines for himself. Another storyline gaining traction is the growing intrigue around Chance. His role as a detective has always put him at the heart of Genoa City's darker secrets, and spoilers hint that he may uncover evidence that shifts the landscape for multiple characters. Chance's sense of duty often collides with his personal desires, and over the coming weeks, his choices will spark ripples that affect not only his romantic future but also the alliances within the town. His interactions with Sharon remain an emotional highlight, though the question of whether they are truly meant to be together looms large. Sharon's stability and empathy balance Chance's sense of duty, but both of them are haunted by past choices. Whether they can move forward together or if their paths will ultimately diverge remains a key question in this arc. Underlying all these developments is the theme of secrets threatening to explode. Spoilers across these weeks point to several bombshells being revealed, from betrayals in business to hidden affairs and long-buried truths resurfacing. The way these secrets come to light is just as important as the secrets themselves, with some characters blindsided and others forced into situations where they must either confess or be exposed. This is classic YNR storytelling, where the tension builds slowly, then bursts open in moments of high drama that change the game entirely. As the period from September 22nd to October 3rd unfolds, the tone of the show balances between suspense, emotional resonance, and the kind of shock value that keeps fans guessing. Each storyline feeds into another, ensuring that no character is isolated and every decision reverberates through multiple relationships. Viewers will watch as trust is tested, love is questioned, and power becomes the driving force for many. By the end of this 2-week span, it's likely that Genoa City will look very different from where it started. Friendships will fracture, rivalries will escalate, and certain characters may find themselves standing on the edge of choices that could alter their lives forever. What makes this stretch of episodes particularly compelling is that it doesn't rely on just one storyline to carry the drama. Instead, it weaves together the fates of multiple families and individuals, making each day essential viewing. Whether it's the power struggles at Newman Enterprises, the tensions at Jabot, the personal dilemmas of characters like Sharon, Phyllis, and Summer, or the unpredictable moves of wildcards like Tucker and Audra, every thread pulls the larger canvas tighter. For longtime fans, this is a reminder of why The Young and the Restless remains so enduring. It's not just about the twists, but about how deeply personal and emotional those twists feel when they hit. As October approaches, anticipation builds for what's next. These 2 weeks are setting the stage for even bigger revelations and confrontations. The groundwork being laid now promises explosive payoffs down the line, and fans will be left debating which alliances will survive, which romances will implode, and which characters will emerge stronger, or shattered, by the storm. In true YNR fashion, nothing is ever simple, and every victory comes with a cost. Genoa City thrives on drama, and the upcoming episodes ensure that the town remains as captivating as ever. The world of Genoa City, as it exists between September 22 and October 3, 2025, is a landscape defined by the aftershocks of recent cataclysms and the slow, deliberate laying of groundwork for future upheavals. The 2-week period is less about explosive, singular events and more about the intricate psychological and strategic maneuvering of its residents, each grappling with the consequences of betrayal, the fragility of new alliances, and the ever-present specter of past sins. The narrative tempo is one of a simmering pot, where tensions bubble just below the lid, threatening to boil over at any moment, yet are carefully controlled by the hands of those who believe they hold the ladle. At the heart of this period lies the continuing fallout from Claire Grace's audacious and deeply personal campaign against the Newman family. The revelation of her true motives and her connection to the enigmatic Jordan has left Victoria Newman particularly vulnerable. Her characteristic poise and corporate ruthlessness are replaced by a palpable sense of violation and self-doubt. The spoilers indicate a period of intense introspection for Victoria, as she retreats from the public eye of Newman Enterprises to reassess not only her judgment in trusting Claire so implicitly but also the walls she has built around her own heart. This is not the Victoria who confronts challenges head-on with a boardroom strategy. This is a woman nursing a profound emotional wound. Her interactions with her family, particularly with Victor, are fraught with a new dynamic. Victor's infamous "I told you so" is likely unspoken, but his presence looms large, a constant reminder of his warnings about outsiders. Their scenes are expected to be tense, quiet exchanges where more is communicated through silence and shared glances than through dialogue, as Victoria struggles to reconcile her inherited Newman strength with a very human feeling of betrayal. Simultaneously, the narrative follows Claire herself, who is now navigating the precarious position of being exposed. With her cover blown, she is forced to operate from a different playbook. The spoilers suggest she is not in retreat but is rather regrouping, her actions becoming more desperate and perhaps more dangerous. The focus shifts to her relationship with her co-conspirator, Jordan. The dynamic between these two women is a critical point of exploration. Is Claire a devoted acolyte carrying out Jordan's vendetta, or is there a more complex, perhaps even fraught, mother-daughter-like bond that is being tested under pressure? Scenes between them are likely to be charged, taking place in shadowy, temporary locations, as they debate their next move. Jordan, a figure of calculated malice, may see the exposure as a setback to be managed with cold precision, while Claire, whose actions were fueled by a twisted sense of familial loyalty, may be grappling with the emotional residue of her deception, particularly regarding the connection she forged with Cole. This internal conflict within Claire is a key driver, suggesting that her character is not a monolithic villain but one capable of nuance, which makes her a far more compelling and unpredictable force. The Cole-Howard element adds a layer of tragic romance to this central conflict. Cole, who allowed himself to believe in a second chance with a woman he thought was his departed daughter, is left with a double grief, the renewed pain of losing a child and the bitterness of being used as a pawn. His role in the coming weeks is that of the grieving avenger, but also a man seeking truth. He will likely be dogged in his pursuit of Claire and Jordan, not just for justice, but for a need to understand the why behind the cruel charade. His path will inevitably cross with Victoria's, and their shared trauma creates a powerful, albeit painful, bond. The spoilers hint at moments of quiet solidarity between them, two wounded souls drawn together by a common enemy and a shared loss. This reconnection, born from tragedy, is a classic soap opera trope, carefully setting the stage for a potential rekindling of their long-dormant romance, but the path is fraught with the baggage of decades and the fresh wounds of Claire's deception. While the Newman family deals with its internal crisis, the Abbott household is embroiled in a corporate and familial battle that threatens to redefine its future. The power struggle for control of Jabot Cosmetics between Jack Abbott and his estranged son, Kyle Abbott, continues to escalate. This is not merely a business dispute, it is a deeply personal war that pits father against son, with Diane Jenkins Abbott caught painfully in the middle. Kyle, aligned with his mother, Audra Charles, and leveraging his position with the nefarious Tucker McCall, represents a new, aggressive generation willing to tear down tradition to build his own empire. Jack, the guardian of the Abbott legacy, is fighting not just for his company but for the soul of his family. The spoilers for this period indicate a significant escalation in Kyle's tactics. He moves beyond boardroom challenges and into the realm of corporate espionage and personal attacks. Expect to see him attempting to poach key Jabot clients or exploiting a potential weakness in a new Jabot product launch. His alliance with Tucker McCall is particularly ominous. Tucker, a master manipulator with a long and bitter history with both the Abbotts and the Newmans, is using Kyle as a weapon, whispering strategies that are just unethical enough to be effective but that carry significant risk. Kyle's ambition, stoked by Tucker's influence and Audra's ambitions, blinds him to the long-term consequences of burning bridges with his entire family. His interactions with Jack are charged with a cold anger, a far cry from the father-son camaraderie they once shared. Jack, on the other hand, is portrayed as a man grappling with disappointment and a determined resolve. He is forced to make difficult decisions that could permanently alienate his son, all in the name of preserving what his parents built. Diane's role is that of the desperate peacemaker, trying to appeal to the better angels of both men's nature, but finding herself increasingly isolated as the battle lines harden. A secondary, yet crucial, storyline unfolding during these 2 weeks involves the complex romantic entanglements surrounding Daniel Romalotti and Lily Winters. Heather Stevens' return to Genoa City has introduced a significant complication into Daniel and Lily's relatively new relationship. Heather, the mother of Daniel's daughter, Lucy, brings with her a history and a claim on Daniel's life that Lily cannot ignore. The spoilers suggest a period of subtle tension and testing for Daniel and Lily. They are happy, but the foundation of their relationship is being shaken by the ghost of Daniel's past. Heather's presence creates practical complications, decisions about Lucy's upbringing, shared histories that exclude Lily, but also emotional ones, forcing Daniel to confront the man he was versus the man he is trying to be with Lily. Lily, a savvy and emotionally intelligent woman, is likely to handle the situation with a measured grace, but not without her own concerns. The drama here is quiet, domestic, and psychological. It plays out in conversations over coffee, in awkward encounters at the Grand Phoenix, and in the silent worries each character harbors. Is Heather's return purely for co-parenting reasons, or does she harbor hopes of rekindling her romance with Daniel? Daniel's loyalty is tested, and his attempts to reassure Lily may only serve to highlight the underlying problem. This storyline provides a necessary counterpoint to the high-stakes corporate and revenge plots, grounding the show in relatable issues of trust, blended families, and the challenges of building a new future when the past refuses to stay buried. Meanwhile, the lives of Genoa City's younger generation are also in flux. Sharon Newman and Chance Chancellor continue to navigate their relationship, which exists in the long shadow of Chance's dangerous work as a police detective and the emotional toll it takes. The spoilers indicate a potential crisis that forces Chance to confront the risks of his job, and by extension, forces Sharon to decide if she can truly build a life with a man whose vocation constantly threatens to leave her a widow. This storyline allows for moments of tenderness and fear, highlighting Sharon's resilience and Chance's internal conflict between duty and love. Elsewhere, the partnership between Nate Hastings and Elena Dawson at their medical clinic is tested, potentially by a professional crisis or an ethical dilemma that forces them to question their methods. Billy Abbott, ever searching for purpose, may find himself drawn back into the orbit of Chelsea Lawson, as their shared history and complicated connection prove difficult to sever entirely. These threads, while supporting the central narratives, enrich the tapestry of Genoa City, ensuring that every segment of the community is experiencing its own drama. The period from September 22 to October 3, 2025, on The Young and the Restless is ultimately a masterclass in building anticipation. It is a narrative bridge, connecting the explosive revelations of the recent past to the inevitable confrontations of the near future. The writers are carefully placing their chess pieces: Victoria's vulnerability, Claire's desperation, Kyle's ambition, and Daniel's divided loyalties are all set on the board. The dialogue is expected to be rich with subtext, the scenes laden with emotional weight. Characters are not just acting, but reacting, their choices in these 2 weeks setting in motion chains of events that will define the autumn in Genoa City. It is a testament to the show's enduring power that even without a headline-grabbing event like a wedding or a death, the slow burn of emotional consequence and strategic plotting can be just as compelling, proving that in the world of daytime drama, the quiet moments before the storm are often the most tense and revealing of all.